Okay, we are go. Ooh, oh, you've gone miniature.
Ready to go live, go miniature. All right, here we
Isn't
go.
it weird?
I'll get
Ah, there you
myself in
go,
there.
man. Steve
Yeah.
is
So,
on air,
yeah.
looking sharp. Steve, looking sharp.
Yeah, thanks. I'm on vacation down here in Key West,
Okay.
and it's extremely sunny here in the condo. So I'm just kidding. I'll put on my regular glasses so you can actually see my eyes and know I'm not lying as I speak.
Mate, I like the top. I like the top. What is that? Pineapples in the ocean?
This is pineapples. Yes, my wife bought this for me somewhere and made me wear it.
Yeah.
And I thought it would look better than just a T-shirt here. Bring in, and I've got a nice wall behind me here.
Nice.
It's the only spot I could find.
A nice white wall. I was hoping to see some ocean.
Yeah. No, the ocean is actually on the other side of a fence out there, so you wouldn't be able to see it very well.
Okay.
But it's been a good trip, and I definitely made time to do this.
Yep.
Wife and daughter down at the pool.
That was, sometimes it's hard to get away on vacation, right?
It is.
Popping out chat here on my screen. Listen, if we've got anybody listening, or that one person that's showing up in my data feed that's listening, give us a holler if you can hear us, and if Steve and I are coming in sounding about the right level. Talk to me, Steve. I want to see your levels.
Sure.
Yeah, you're good. We're even. I think we're even, so that's nice.
This was an interesting past week, right? This was the big MVP purge, or whatever you might want to call that, right?
Well, I tell you what, I think a lot more people went than was anticipated. Let me just see here. I'll bring up on Twitter. Let me see this post I saw. It's by Eric Hogard. And he said he's bringing up the results, and the results here of the total number of MVPs is currently 3,223. And then the new results, so that was last Friday. The new results is 2,635.
That's a pretty good whack.
So 3,223 down to 2,635. So I think now someone did some maths here. What did I see? 588 MVPs capped.
I wonder what that was about. I mean, recently, in recent years, around the gold competency, they really toughened up, at least in business applications. I don't know about the other areas. They really toughened up the requirements for gold because they felt like, you know what, we have so many gold partners, gold doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
And they really tightened that one up. They tightened up silver. So a lot of formerly gold partners dropped to silver. A lot of silver partners dropped off competency completely because they wanted that stuff to mean more. I wonder if there's any kind of a thought process like that going on with MVP, that we need to reduce the numbers to have it be more meaningful. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
The thing is, I think they've got really clear. What's become clear is that you're not going to be able to ride status MVP of yesteryear. In other words, contribute in this year or in this 12-month window, and you'll be up for next time round. But if you don't contribute, just because you wrote a book or did something amazing 2 years ago, or just because you've been an MVP for 9, 10, 15 years, you're not safe anymore, right? And so, man, let me just bring up on my desktop here some of what we're seeing here in the Microsoft Bizzap space. We've got
167.
167. So I don't know, we're up around 190 something, weren't we? I think we're around 25 lost. I see a couple anonymous, so some people not filled out their profile regions or anything here by the looks.
Yeah, some new ones, I guess.
Chris Huntingford still on board, even though he's become a blue badge. So he's off. So that made it through safely. What's on the next screen?
Yeah, I think that of the people that I saw that didn't get renewed, I think most of them were expecting it. I think they kind of knew that they had, they had kind of gotten some different interest weren't as active in the community, and so it didn't come to a surprise
Yeah.
as a surprise to most of them, or to me, or probably you either. With most of them, it was always that rare exception that you're like, what? That how do they get rid of that person? But usually, you kind of look at it and go, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And same with the new ones. You see new folks there. I said Melinda Donoso Martinez. She's brand new.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that
No.
completely wrong?
What I'm laughing at in the chat window, we've got Seth Bacon saying this is like, where's Poldo? And Nick Dolman saying he loves Gus's high school in the lineup.
Yeah, he's
and
been using that one forever.
yeah. Ian's,
When I first met Gus, which is really only a few years ago, the first time I met Gus, I was talking to him for like 15 minutes before I realized who he was.
yeah.
I'd seen the picture forever, with the glasses, and it looks like his high school graduation picture. Then I met the real Gus. I had no idea who he was for the first 15 minutes of talking to him.
We've got Kylie here. She's right. She's just come into the program.
Yep, she's one that I think a lot of us had been, championing for, and a lot of MVPs. So it's good that the folks that are running this definitely are listening to the feedback of, of us folks that really kind of know who's out there pushing the envelope.
Yeah. I love Nick Dolman's comment here about Leon's what did he say? Headshot actor profile.
He looks like a 1930s gangster mugshot.
Classic.
Like one of the Al Capone gang or something,
So I like this new one here from Norway.
Yeah.
Milan.
That's what I was just talking about. Yeah.
Now see, fantastic. She's been awarded in the area, like her Jedi skills is the area of talent.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, right?
I think it's not only awesome, but it's an interesting thing for aspiring MVPs to think about, is that there are some other doors to get in. I mean, she's in the business applications category, just like you and I. I don't know anything about talent. I don't know what she knows about the stuff I know, but the stuff that I've been working with, a lot of folks have been working with a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of these folks that are coming in some of these new doorways that Microsoft, wants to promote, like, talent, and like some of these flow. Was it Eliza got in really from the flow side, I think, right?
Yeah. So
and that's not. I don't mean to say that means that's easy. I'm just saying that some of these folks and some of these new technologies, Microsoft really wants to pull some folks in, and there's not a ton of folks in some of those. So it's a good path to grow.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can pronounce this right, because Jonas has corrected me. She's a Norwegian lady. She's not an Italian town. It's not Milan. I think he's saying Milan. This is the bad thing, right? She's actually on my mentoring program.
Oh my goodness!
But English is my second language because my primary is dumb, and I've never been good at pronouncing names, and so forgive me for the mispronouncing. But
well, in your mentoring program,
hang on, I meant to draw out the A's. He's saying Marlin. And sorry for totally. But I need to get. That since my 90-day mentoring challenge has been going, 2 people inside my 90-day mentoring challenge. Now, I'm not trying to take, kudos for any of this, but 2 of them have become,
sure you are.
2 of them have become MVPs since they've been on my 90-day mentoring challenge. Both of them, ladies, bringing their action to the game and delivering some outstanding contributions to the community. So I'm pretty rapt to see this. I think the next, okay, we've gone through that. No. Sorry, Jonas, man. I know I butchered that. Mate, there's a handsome guy. Look at this guy, right? Prime. There we go, Megan. Fantastic. I know she came in last.
Yeah. We see Matt's still there, who keeps expecting that he's going to get dropped any time, but not so.
Big news from Matt this week.
Is that public yet? Yeah, I don't know if he has either, so maybe we'll keep that.
Okay, so we won't say that Matt's resigned from Click Dimensions and going Hitachi. I didn't say that. You said that, right? That wasn't me.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
Not said on this Was not said on this
It was not
broadcast.
said on this board. Oh, here's the next one. Now,
Yeah,
Jonas,
Sarah.
tell me how this goes. Sarah Lagerquist. Come on, I must have her name right there. So the bodies are buried. He sure does. Hey, that's true. Now, the thing with Sarah, right, is that I've seen her a couple of times now, looking at across 3 different events,
Yep.
and all within 9 months. Sorry, all within the last 12 months, well and truly. Now, interesting because she works with Jonas for one, and
And Gustav, right?
first off, oh my gosh, he facepalmed me for my pronunciation. I thought I had Sarah Lagerquist correct, the best a white guy from New Zealand could. But what I'm saying about her is that, like, Christoph and I just had a discussion hours ago around people that will jump into the forums and spend hours and hours and hours and hours answering forum questions. And you've got to agree, as in for your MVP contribution, what's the cost to benefit ratio? And what he was saying is that, isn't it better to be speaking around events because you seem to build a profile quicker? You're touching a lot more community people quicker. And I'm like, I got to say, I think he's onto something.
Well, I've never answered a forum question.
Neither.
So
Neither. That's not my cup of tea.
I definitely think that the whoever the committee and the folks are that look at all this stuff are kind of weighing your entire body of work and not just although there are people that I think have gotten in doing nothing but answering forum questions and do a lot of it.
Yeah,
that's never been me. I don't think I'm smart enough to answer the forum questions.
Now it's interesting. I just saw that Jonas, he's been told off for spamming symbols, which is totally bizarre to me because I turned that feature off, but it's still in my account. So I need to address that. Well, trying to block the cool signage from Jonas, but I just noticed on another feed, not the main one. But yeah, interesting. So I do like this. What else have we got here? Who else is in? Oh, did Satya went an MVP?
Oh, nice. Yeah, right.
That's spelled the same way. I mean,
it doesn't.
A bit of a difference on the last name, but Satya.
Yeah, a little. I'm pretty sure that he's not an MVP.
Satya?
Satya, he's not.
No, but this guy is.
A good-looking guy down in the right-hand corner, though. He just breezed past a good-looking guy in the bottom right corner there.
Oh, hang on, I didn't. Let me have a look. Got a pineapple shirt.
Not in that photo.
There he is. Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
Steve Moore. Who else have we got there?
20-year-old photo.
Last screen here.
I will be that guy, by the way, that uses a 20-year-old photo forever.
Oh, like Leon?
Yes, like Leon. Like Gus.
Yeah. Like Will Dorrington looking sharp here, looking sharp.
Never seen him. Never, ever seen him look like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've definitely, had a culling. I mean, some of the people that, were there before I joined are no longer there, which is, a couple of blokes from EY. They seem to have gone. Donna Edwards, we see no longer in the program. I think she opted out herself.
Voluntarily, kind of. Yeah, I think she pulled herself out.
Yeah.
And this is your what? 17, 18?
My
16?
8. 8. Yeah, year 8 for me. Well, 8.5, but they changed half. But who's counting half years? 8 years. As of now. So yeah, that's what we're looking at there. Let's go back to any other comments from the community. What's Dolman said? Jonas had a fault. It's that man's perfection. Had a fault. If. I love it.
If.
Nick's covering his butt there with that if, right?
Yeah.
Oh man!
So looking forward to.
Tell me. Sorry, Seth's saying my audio's going out. I'm just wondering if it's because I'm rocking. Hopefully,
maybe.
Any feedback on the technicality, guys?
So I don't think we've broke the news to Nick yet about Gus staying with us at the B&B in Orlando.
There's been an ongoing feud between Nick Dolman and Gus for some time, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I just wanted to watch it, up close and personal. So
yeah.
We thought we'd get him in the same B&B. Ought to be fun.
Seth Bacon likes your shirt, by the way.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Giving it
Nice.
a top-notch rating. Giving it a top-notch. His wife bought it for him. Yeah, so it's going to be
no
easy.
doubt, no
Easy
doubt.
how Nick. But the thing is about Nick, right? He knows how to lift some weights, so I think he would know how to handle
Gus has got
Gus.
some weight to lift.
Oh! Okay,
He
okay.
can handle it.
He can handle it. Now, hey, this is a cool thing. Seth, who's watching this live stream, he's live streaming, right? He's been doing some live streaming for some time. Gus, I think, is getting into live streaming, so it's cool. I love it that a few new genres have been tested out for adding value to the like that.
I think it's a good excuse at least to go ahead and get some. I mean, I'm sure that the life of these things lives mostly in on demand. People listening.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds of people being available right now. I mean, the fact that Jonas has nothing better to do is surprising, but the odds of people being available at a particular point in time once a week are pretty slim. So, but it's a great excuse, to generate some content.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so
we're gonna try and do some segments this time, right? We're thinking about trying to get this beyond just you and I shooting the bull.
So let's jump to one. I've got a question here. Ask
Hey
for a
Mark,
friend.
so you want to know how to handle multiple languages in
sure.
PowerApps Canvas apps.
Pick
So I've had this
phone.
come up with a couple different clients, and so there's a good way and a bad way. The bad way, we'll start with that, is we actually built an entire app in English, and when we got done with it, we took that app, we saved it as a copy, we had a second version of the app problems around changes and having to get them incorporated into both apps. And we also ran into some issues with things like status and those type of words where we needed to translate those, but we didn't actually want to translate those because then it was two different statuses in the database, which made reporting hard. The second way is we made a PowerApps Canvas app using CDS as the back end. And so we actually had a separate entity or table where we managed all the different translations. So we had this one in 13 different languages. And so in the user record, we tracked their language. And in the language, then we would have all of our labels, which are the controls that say, this is the date or this is the customer name or that type of stuff. All of the labels had if statements set to them. If the language is this, then show this. If not, show this. And that was how we did it. So two different ways to kind of go at it there.
No, it's not on
the second approach turned out to work really, really well. It just takes a little bit longer to write. So hopefully that helps.
Okay, so there we go. That's our first kind of input.
Phone a friend.
Phone a friend.
Phone a friend.
Shane Young there. Check him out on Twitter. Shane's Cows. Now, that guy knows his stuff on PowerApps, right? He's got a phenomenal channel on YouTube for everything PowerApps, so well worth checking. Hopefully you got that. If you didn't, go check out his channel. There's more there.
Let us know if you didn't, just so we can. So that's something we're trying to experiment, because I think if we can get the phone a friend, feature working, we're just going to do the whole show phoning friends. So we'll have people that really know what they're doing instead of the two of us.
Exactly. So I also had a couple other people give us some inputs here. So Carson. On screen there, he former MVP, now Microsoft global black belt, I think he is, on all things PowerApps. He sent through this building multilingual apps blog post by Microsoft, supporting multiple language PowerApps, YouTube there, and creating multiple languages. Now, so for those, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste right now into the comments all those various links that Carson provided. So if you want to get up to speed, you have to click on those links in chat. It'll take you to the blog post, the multilingual videos that have been done when it comes to executing with PowerApps. So hopefully we more questions like this. Not necessarily attempt to answer them if we don't know the answer. But But yeah, valid. Joys of latency work fair. We will get better at that. Oops, your face has gone tiny again, a little bug in our software. You're back up. But we've got to agree to disagree. Now, this is a segment that you've decided to take us down. Is that right?
Well, I think, lots of people look at the two of us and we both wear glasses, we both shave our heads, we both have facial hair. And aside from the fact that I'm just better looking, I think they think that we probably agree on everything. But we don't agree on everything. Like, for example, we don't agree that I'm better looking. But there's some other more serious things that we don't agree on. And one that I've been having a little bit of a rant on lately is a recent announcement about the provisioning of environments for PowerApps. And if you want to scroll down a little bit, there's a sentence in there. It's really only one sentence that bothers me, and that's that one right there. That by default, all licensed users will have access to create environments so long as you have a gigabyte available of database capacity. However, admins can then go in and turn that off so that their users aren't a runaway train creating crazy environments and gobbling up all their storage and everything else. A position I've taken is that should be reversed. That by default, admins only, or some roles, specific roles only, are allowed to create environments, and that admin can flip that switch off to open it up for everyone. I feel like this is another maybe an overreach. I think this is another thing that's going to come back to bite Microsoft. This policy that they're going out with at least some of the IT folks that I've run into in the past. And you disagree with me on this.
Yeah. The reason I disagree, right, is that in so many IT networks and infrastructures, IT tend to be, very tight or stranglehold on what people do. Now, I remember working in an organization in Australia where if a new piece of technology came out from Microsoft, the first thing IT did wasn't available. We were licensed to use it, that type of thing. And what their big thing was, if we allow people to use this, we have to then support it. And because they were lazy and they liked the status quo, where, we're an 1,800 strong organization, but for them, it was like hard work. Oh, we've got to learn software, we've got to support it. So in 0365, right, we'd have, I don't know, the 5 account or something. And, everybody in the organization had email. That's it type thing,
Yep.
Because we don't want you using that because you. I like this because what it does, all those IT departments that are not awake use it until they're going to turn it on, right? Because them to turn it on, they've got to support. Yes, they've been enlightened around the concept of using this new technology, that they've been proactive, and I'm not saying it's one size fits all. And I have been playing with my mic lately. I wonder if it's knifing around. Hang on a second.
I'm able to hear you.
No, I tell you what. What I did is I put a noise gate on my Connect. Idea was so you'd back in. So I'll just drop my noise gate back up, and therefore it should, sounds like computer thinks your voice is noise that it tries to. Yeah, that was a noise gate. Okay, I'll try to improve it. See what happens, chaps. So I think that by turning this on, potentially those kind of makers that are subject matter experts within the organization, but are not IT gurus, are potentially going to stumble across this stuff, or they've read something out there, they're going to go and try it on, they're going to discover it, and they are going to start using it. So I think it's a positive.
I think that's got to be the position that Microsoft is taking on this, is they've got to be feeling the same way that you are. The scenario that I'm going to see, though, is, and I wrote about this recently, the way it is, they're looking to have 1,000 flowers bloom, right? We're going to have all these users creating all these apps. Now, citizen developers are not developers, and some of them are going to build better stuff. So my prediction is a whole bunch of those flowers are going to be weeds and just chaff and junk, but all of it's taking up a gigabyte of storage per environment. So there's a cost factor here. Now, you're probably going to buy, I don't think anybody's just going to put a credit card that says, hey, give me unlimited environments, whatever I need. So, what's going to happen is they're going to immediately hit these limits on storage, right? That's probably when IT might even discover this. Because, when you think about IT, particularly enterprise IT, they don't know Power Platform.
No.
They don't know what we're talking about. We're all deep into it. We know it, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
And I don't think the best way for them to discover it is that all of a sudden they got some runaway train going on in their Microsoft Cloud service over here that they were completely oblivious to happening. What's going to happen then is they're going to be right back to, they're going to just shut the thing off immediately. They're going to turn that runaway train off immediately. And now that's your starting point with IT to try and get them to embrace the Power Platform. Oh, you mean that thing that went crazy on us and I had to shut off? That's a tougher starting point than having it be off by default. Admins only can create it and then go make the case to IT that, hey, we want to let this level of user in the organization be able to create these. I think it's a better negotiating point with IT to make this thing grow.
Yeah.
Is 1,000 flowers going to bloom? No, maybe it's 100. But at least they'll be supported by IT.
Yeah, well, interesting. Just based on the chat comments, Seth Bacon agrees with me, and being that he's the only one that's cast his vote, we will take that as he's 100%. Everybody supports the idea of keeping it open. But I know you can't read the comments, so the comments actually are he believes you're right on this one, Steve. I'm lying to you. He believes you're right.
I was going to say, I think you're pulling a Gus Gonzalez on me, stacking a deck of a podcast with a bunch of people that agree with his unmanaged solutions for a managed versus unmanaged debate.
Yeah, Jason's just said we need to run a poll. That's going to be the next thing. We're going to try adding poll software
cool.
into the mix and for future shows. I like it.
And you're not going to have the ability yourself to personally add a whole bunch of votes to agree with your opinion, right?
Yeah, 100%. Look, we kicked off and I didn't put out a tweet that says live now. I just put out that tweet. I'm just going to do another one that goes live, which updated the status on my Twitter profile to say we're live right now. And yeah, I've just done that. Twitter has now been updated. So we're probably going to get about 1,000 people join in right now, right? We're going to get inundated. Go back to my stream
my prediction on that last one is that lots of licenses have the ability to create an environment. They wanted to open that up to lots of different license types. So pretty much any Office 365 user can create an environment. It's not just PowerApps or some of these others. Any Office 365 user can create an environment. And you look at an enterprise organization with thousands of users out there that have Office 365, and suddenly they discover through, I don't know, read some blog post, see some video, and are poking around and realize, oh, I can create this stuff. And I just think that's going to create total chaos. I think that IT, for the largely in a lot of these organizations, won't have any idea what PowerApps is until the chaos has been created, and they're going to react. They're going to react badly to Microsoft having set it up that way. They're gonna be thinking, up there goes Microsoft again, overreaching. They should have given me that ability. They should have educated me on what was happening. Instead, they just blew up a bunch of stuff that I got to fix. And you wonder why your earlier comment about how IT just turns everything off by default. And I'm sure that's the concern, is if this were off by default, IT would just never turn it on. But this is why they do that, is they keep getting their hands burnt by stuff like this.
Yeah, so Frank there in the chat, he says switching this off might impact the PowerApps community plan. I don't know. I don't know if there is that potential impact. Nick Dolman agrees with you. He likes your argument. It looks like you're taking the win on this. But I don't know if you would agree or disagree with me on this, but there's been a move in the way CDS is stored, right? There's kind of There's a multi-database architecture that now sits under it, came out a couple of months ago. My concern is when you're deploying a new environment, all the, for want of a better term, crapware that gets dumped into your CDS tenant that chews up my storage. I'm talking about, I asked for this, let's say I asked for Dynamics 365 sales. I asked just for that. All of a sudden I've got portals in there, I've got field service, I've got IoT, I'm like, hang on, I didn't ask for any of that crap. I thought by selecting one thing, I mean, I had an instance the other day, had something like 29 solutions on a clean instance. And I went in and spent about an hour and a half trying to remove, and of course, 3 of them have dependencies, so you can't even remove them. That I find frustrating. If you're telling me I'm picking sales, I'm picking sales. That's it. Don't give me all the other chaff, which is, what it reminds me of is that when you used to buy a new laptop, you'd get in there and it was let's say it was an HP machine, and it was full of all their HP apps that, like, you didn't want all. What's the first thing you did, right? Format the hard drive, get a clean install of Windows, put it in there, right? You didn't want all that rubbish.
Or they had some of those that were like a signature edition where you could buy one, pay a little extra, and it didn't have all the crapware on it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we need something like that. But it's I get what Microsoft's trying to do. They feel like they're building some really awesome stuff, and they are. And the biggest challenge they have right now is discovery. Is marketplace discovering what it is they're doing. They're doing some awesome stuff.
That's marketing's job.
We know about it.
That's marketing's job.
I agree. It is marketing's job.
It's not the product team's job to chuck that crap into the database storage that I'm paying for.
Yeah, but if I'm the PM with P&L responsibility for some product, like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I don't control marketing. Marketing does, but I've still got P&L responsibility. So, damn marketing, I want to get this thing in front of customers somehow, by hook or by crook, or marketing isn't going fast enough or whatever. I'm just going to flip a little switch here and just have LinkedIn Sales Navigator pushed out to all these tenants.
Yeah.
That when that happened, of course, everybody got all annoyed on our end about them just, you're taking my customer's tenant, you're shoving stuff in there that they didn't ask for, that is useless unless they paid for a completely different license. And the argument we got back was, well, we're trying to save them a step. Well, literally, they saved them one click and pissed off a whole bunch of people for shoving a bunch of stuff in their environments. Yeah. And it's to your same point. I think you look at that environment with all that's all those different teams. It's just like, hey, I want to get my stuff out in front of the customers. I want to get my stuff out in front of the customers, not content to wait on marketing to blow the trumpet for their particular piece of IP,
Interesting. Thanks for that, Nick, around the echo. I know that's my noise gate too low now. Listen, Mr. Bacon Bites.
Revert to headphones again.
Mr. Bacon Bites raises a very interesting point. What he's saying, people have always had Excel, and they've always had the ability to get access databases and build stuff anywhere in the organization that IT is not controlling. The benefit of this is that IT can put in place a they can have the admin flow that triggers, that says, hey, someone spun this instance, now proactively go, and get alongside. But you're not creating these kind of data silos and Excel spreadsheets, which is in our history, and or access databases. So I think that's a very valid point. Like if IT sets up their admin consoles correctly, I think they have the ability to get the right information about what people are doing in their organizations without having to, if you like, go extreme and shut it all down. So maybe Microsoft, that's their view.
I think you're right, is they have the ability to proactively do it, but I think they're going to end up retroactively doing it. Microsoft has kind of circumvented their ability of designing a governance strategy in advance, laying out rules, putting in processes in place, approvals for what can be built, what can't, who can do it, who can't. They circumvent all that by having it on default that anybody can do it unless you, IT, go in and flip this switch, so then you can go do your planning. And it's an assumption that every IT person out there already knows all about PowerApps, which I just don't think is correct yet. I think that most of them, I think it's going to be retroactive governance which, for a lot of them, I think is just going to be shut the thing off, turn that thing off. And that's not a position that I want to be going back into that enterprise customer who had something happen to him in his environment and go crazy and saw his phones are blowing up because they used up all the storage and nobody can, and the people that legitimately need to build stuff can't because, somebody over in some department is playing with this tool. And all of a sudden that's going to come out of nowhere for a lot of these IT, administrators. The first they're going to hear about it is after that horse has left the barn, and their first reaction is going to be shut that thing off. And that's our position then as partners come back in and explain why they would want to turn it back on.
Yeah. Okay, so hey, we're getting some great feedback from the audience here, and I want to just jump into what Frank's saying here. So Frank is saying compliance for PII, personally identifiable information, or GDPR is easier to find with CDS than Excel, right? So there's some good governance practice right in here. Another one, Nick says a good analogy is do you have the supply closet locked or unlocked in your company? Now that's a goodie, right? I don't know if that plays to your argument or it doesn't play to my argument.
Well, those two opinions seem quite contradictory. The one is looking at all of your data and all of your stuff as toilet paper that should be available to anybody, and the other is looking at it as PII and other protected data that you just, when we talk about things like HIPAA compliant or PII, the application is capable of doing that, but that doesn't mean people know how to necessarily turn that stuff on. It's not just because you have Microsoft Cloud services by virtue of subscribing that no matter what you do, you will be compliant. That's not the case at all. The software has the ability to give you tools to maintain your compliance, but just having the software doesn't make you compliant. And I see lots of potential challenges with having this open like this.
Okay, so let's agree to disagree.
We are.
Okay, let's just.
And for the audience, that's not the first time Mark and I have disagreed on something.
True. We've disagreed on that ISV program that back in the day, and maybe about my opinions on certain products being dead, not.
Yes, we did disagree on that one.
And I know I won you over, right?
No, I won you over.
Okay.
We'll disagree.
Okay, let's take a look at this. Post come out yesterday from Microsoft, June 2019, updates for Microsoft PowerApps. I'm just going to scroll through this. If anything grabs your attention, feel free to jump in on AI Builder, of course.
That AI Builder they made a lot of noise about that. I think that was, of the things that happened at Business Applications Summit, that one seemed to get the most noise. I haven't had a chance to look at it closely yet or really dive into it. I doubt that it could possibly live up to all the noise that it got, but maybe it can. I definitely am eager to go play around with it a little bit, make it available for some customers. It looks like another tool that will work with CDS without first-party apps, which, as you know, we're really focused away from the first-party apps with our direction of our business, which I'm not saying is a direction that's better or worse than others. It's just the direction we've chosen is to go after kind of pure build on the CDS. So I'm always looking for new capabilities and tools that were previously either locked to the first-party apps or planned to be only for the first-party apps that we then hear are, this is available for CDS. And that looks like one of them, that AI Builder, will be available for CDS-only environment. So definitely something we have to play with.
Yeah. Another one here, the PowerApps portal, which we discussed last time.
Same thing. And same exact motion. Suddenly here's something that previously required, it had dependencies on first-party applications. PowerApps portal is essentially the same thing as the old portal, just without those dependencies. So you can build portals right off of CDS, and I know Nick's listening there to correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I'm looking at that one.
Yeah.
I've actually been asked. In our last call, I told you I was playing around with portals a little bit here, and I'm still at that stage where it hasn't all clicked yet. I've leaned on Nick a couple times for some questions, and he probably chuckles that I'm even asking such amateur questions. But any of this new technology, you kind of wade your way into it, especially if you're not big on reading directions. till all of a sudden, the light bulb starts going off, and it kind of goes off like Christmas lights, one bulb at a time until that thing's lit up. So I think I got about a third of my bulbs lit on on portals.
Yeah. Well, Nick is agreeing with you. Who wrote this post? Charles Sterling. All right. Okay. So
Yeah,
he's
your buddy Charles.
he's put this together. Fantastic. Let's go down here. I find this one interesting about PowerShell window. I mean, good functionality, but yep, awesome screenshot. PowerApps.
Look, there's another.
There it is. Outlook and PowerApps now.
Yeah, another one. This is the same Outlook app that we've had. I think some people were thinking that it was a Outlook Power App, or thinking it was something different. It's actually the same one we've had. They just once again removed the dependencies on the first party apps. So you can now, with a custom built application on CDS, you've got, and that's been a big ask from a lot of our customers, was because they'd see it out there, and it's funny. I know even with the old Outlook app, lots of demand for it from customers back in the day. Oh, we got to have that. Got it. It's a must have. And then you'd set it all up for them, and like only 2% of the people even used it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, the features that customers think they want versus what they actually end up using. Once they get deployed.
I tell you what, I like this one here, and I tell you why I like it. And it's for a lot of partners and stuff, they wouldn't give this two hoots. What I like about this is, enabling center of excellences, COEs, to be deployed within an organization is really, I think, going to help to drive adoption of PowerApps, right? Giving them the tooling, how to get set up. A starter kit like this, I think, allows you to create a beachhead inside an organization to really get the tech established. The other thing is things like Hack for Good, show and tell sessions, human-centered design sessions, like the Microsoft product out there called Catalyst now, really moving into that kind of running day-long events that ultimately use apps inside companies rather than just out in the market, I think is right on the money. Before we go on to the next one, I'll just take a...
Well, hang on. I got some thoughts on that one, because that center of excellence ties right into our agree to disagree conversation.
Okay.
This is how it should be approached, particularly with enterprise or even mid-sized companies, is this center of excellence first, which this is really, this is the answer to, ungoverned chaos that you get just by having it open to anybody can go create anything at will. This is the answer to that, is you put something like this in place. I actually see an opportunity here, a partner opportunity. Maybe it's a consulting opportunity, just helping large customers set up these centers of excellence and using these starter kits and really putting that in place. But if you've got this in place, then the whole agree to disagree thing goes away.
Yeah.
If you got this in place first, this is the horse, and I think what they're doing is they're putting the cart ahead of it.
Can you see the chat window at all? There's a couple of comments here.
I can't.
You can?
Yeah, I cannot.
Oh, okay. So I'll just... Nick here, what does he say? Portals always had a steep learning curve. Colin, and I discussed the new port... I don't see... Notice there, Nick, I don't even try to attempt his last name. Vimanda. Discussed the new portals on the latest Refresh the Cache. So anybody listening, want to get a good podcast on portals, jump across there, check it out. Just do a quick Google for Refresh the Cache, and listen to that podcast if you're really into portals.
I think it's on the Serum Audio Network.
That's it, Serum Audio, the one Joel's, the one I used to be on as well.
Yep.
Well worth going and having a listen though to those shows if you're really into that. So asking me, okay. That's by the side. So anything else here? React and Office UI Fabric. We're seeing React become part of the PowerApps component framework, of course. That was announced recently.
Yeah, we knew that was coming.
I haven't looked at this improved data table control with column formulas. Are you across that at all? It's obviously on the Canvas app side of things by the looks.
Yeah, it looks like they're using the Canvas app, so not something we haven't. We're still in that. So we're that ISV, right? And we're looking at pieces that we're able to bundle up into a distributable solution.
Yep.
At scale without a whole bunch of stuff having to be done by the customer. And some of these things, we've got some pieces coming to make it easier, but up until now, for example, embedded Canvas apps are allegedly solution aware, although I keep hearing lots of challenges with that. And I'm just not at a comfort level yet to introduce that into our ISV solutions out there yet. So until something is ready to be introduced into our ISV solutions, I don't spend a ton of time thinking about it.
Yeah.
And some of those make me a little nervous. I mean, even Flow. I mean, I like Flow, but I continuously still hear issues and bugs and challenges with Flow to the point to where, as an ISV, I'm thinking, do I want to put myself between my customers and Flow issues on Microsoft until I see that they're really are minimal over there? So until I'm kind of watching the tide for it to go down. And there's a point where the tide goes down low enough for me, okay, now we're going to pull this into our ISV solution. I guess in a way, we're kind of acting as a gatekeeper for some of our customers, for some of this new functionality. I'm sure if Microsoft had their way, they'd have a switch that would disable our ability to do that.
Frank, I take your point about the Discord server. I've actually set it up. I just haven't worked out how to kind of embed it as part of the stream. It's definitely something I'm going to be turning on because it allows us to take a lot of feedback, of course, outside these sessions as well. So thanks for prompting that. I'll hope to get that going in the next week or so. What else, Steve? Is there, we've got, 15 minutes to go. Is there anything else top of mind?
And I don't think anything top of mind. Unfortunately, I told you before we got on, I'm on vacation down here in Key West, so I've been, drunk most of the time. And
what's changed?
Yeah, I've had my share of pina coladas down here, and of course the hot sun, coming down here for the 4th of July Independence Day weekend.
Awesome.
Or week. So I haven't thought about work much until it was like, oh crap, we got this thing going on this morning. I better get my head in the game. So took some asprin, washed my face, and
I like it.
And here I am.
I just put up a reference to our pub quiz. Oops, you've shrunk on my window. I'll bring it back up to size there. I just put the link in the chat window. And
I think this is either going to be something that's really, really fun, or it's going to be a complete disaster. I don't know which, but for those U.S. listening folks, think of a pub quiz as like group trivia, right? I think that's what we call that here in the U.S. There'll be questions asked. You'll have little teams come up with the answer, and
So I'll tell you something I found out last night. So I was on a call with Rose Splitzer. She looks after the Dynamics communities for the Power Platform within the broader Dynamics communities, right? Part of ECI. So what's interesting here is she goes, "Are you the Mark Smith that set up the pub quiz?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's me." She was like, "Oh man, you wouldn't believe the problems you've created."
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, "Mate, this just seems to be my story lately. It seems like I'm stepping on the wrong toes at the wrong time." So what happened is in Amsterdam, they had a pub quiz. I didn't go along to it. I didn't see it or attend it, but when,
Were you aware?
I was aware. But my wife attends pub quiz quite regularly. So she's a pub quiz fan type thing. So back after that event, I just put in a bunch of submissions, and one of them was, "Hey, pub quiz is a great idea. Let's do that." So, of course, I put a blog post out, which I just dropped into the link there. Teams are starting. We've already got a Swedish team nominating in, a Canadian team. Obviously, there's going to be some country-specific competitions.
It seems that way.
There's a bit of banter happening around it. We've got a couple of questions starting to come in from different parts. My goal is to have about 50 questions, which would be way more than what we need. People are talking about their contributions to, the swag in a bag. But anyhow, I'm glad I got it in, because what happens, DCI, they had the people that organized the old one going to them and going, "Why did you give it to him?
The hell?
Like, why did?" And she was like, "Mate, I didn't know. It's but you guys need to come up with something different, because we don't want 2 pub quiz events." So
It's not the first time that's happened to us.
Hey, right? So this time I'm like, at the moment it's on a lunchtime session. I'm trying to get it moved, in Orlando to the end of the day. And I got a great tip. I was talking with John. What's John's last name? The head of Flow. the big flow god.
Oh, Levesque?
Yeah, Levesque. So I was talking with him last night, and he was saying, make sure you put it on the night that the user group functions on, because they'll have all the bear at the function. And then all you need to do is go, yeah, this mount was meant to come to the session, pre-function, special thing, pub quiz. And that's how they
So we could roll in an alcohol cart.
That's it, because they're already licensed for it at that point in the event. They got it, it's a good go. I'm like, man, great idea.
What if we just rolled it into that?
Well, that's the intention, right? Is that we put it as the one just before that. That's what I'm asking, that they give me the last session of the day before that,
Yeah.
you know, for this breakout session. I think it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun, you know. And you know, attention is getting a trophy, getting it engraved, and each year that trophy going around for the winning team. You know, I don't want it to be a one-off thing. Yeah, let's see what happens. I think it'll be good.
And we did discuss we were going to figure out the questions in advance and go get the answers. It wasn't just going to be you and me.
No.
We're going to have the actual answer that is undeniable and unquestionable from the people that know it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's some interesting things coming out of the woodworks around questions. Stuff from before it was ever called dynamics type questions, right? So way back, some historic questions. There's some technology questions, all sorts of things. I love it. There's such a variety. I just don't think that one person would have all the answers. But who knows? Who knows? It's going to be interesting. It'll be, you know, teams of 4. How those balance up is going to create some interesting dynamics and interesting antics, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like a group version of that thing that Gus has been doing lately, where he's walking around these events, just sticking a microphone in MVP's faces and asking them, you know, some obscure question. You know, be kind of a group version of that, I guess.
Yeah.
But nobody's punched Gus yet. I think George Dubinsky came close, but that's the closest I've seen yet.
Yeah, maybe Dave Yak. I don't think. He was too happy.
Probably wasn't too crazy about that. Yeah.
What city was Microsoft started in? That was Utah, wasn't it?
Wow, no idea.
I don't know. As in, Seth, do you know where it was? I definitely know it wasn't Seattle. Definitely wasn't Seattle.
Huh.
I don't know why I thought Utah. I don't know why that jumped into my mind, but yeah, not 100% on that. Oh, New York.
Did you just give away an answer?
No, because this is show. This is they started in Albuquerque, New.
That is. I heard that. Now that you said that, I do remember hearing that.
But hey, if people are on this call and they get some insight on some questions, good on them for being on the call. I call that research.
We're going to go ahead and include that question just for the people on this call.
Exactly.
So they'll have a gimme.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. There'll be a gimme right there. Might be worth a spot prize, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it looks like for our live event, or our live podcast that we're doing weekly here, we're getting dialed in a little bit better on the technology. Still got some things to work out, which we will. Trying to think of a little bit more of an organized structure. I like the agree to disagree section. We got to come up with something each week, which shouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
And thinking about trying to put it into a little bit of a more structured format instead of, and I'm sure everybody listening has noticed that Mark didn't interview me for this hour, so we're really kind of getting our modes, in place for how we think this could be, hopefully fun for people to listen to and fun to do.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things I've been thinking about is, can we bring a third camera in, like have a dial-in line? Putting the Discord server, setting that up will actually, I think, allow us to bring audio in from our guests at least. So we get some audio pretty easy through Discord, it's all used in the gaming community. What else was I thinking?
Interesting.
You know what? If you've got questions that you want us to bring up on the show and get a bit of research done like we did with the question this week, we put out tweets regularly with a link to the form. What is that? bit.ly/ I was going to say just / live stream. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put one out there right now, which is topics. There you go. I just put that out on Twitter. I just refresh that on Twitter. Let me see if I can put that URL link.
Yeah, and our thinking is that whatever kind of questions come in, we're going to go find some expert that we know to kind of record like with Shane there, a short bit of video with an answer to that thing, and kind of like the phone a friend.
Yeah.
We're just going to phone a friend for every one of them.
I like it. So the link there for that form is bit.ly PowerUp Live questions, all lowercase. If you've got questions, submit them in there, or submit them to us on any social media that you want. If there's some type of segment, oops, you go, you've shrunk again. If there's some type of segment that you think would go well on air that we should be including, that first introduction that we tried this time of agree to disagree, if you've got a topic for that, or if there's anything, you've got questions that you can't find the answer to, let us find the answer to those questions on your behalf. We'll do our best to source the answers and come back to you live on air with a succinct response. And
we need people to do that, because I'm looking at this as my new avenue to learn stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the learning voyeur.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'm thinking that we perhaps wrap things up there, Steve. I've got a call right now. Let me see in my diary, because this is going to give me a chance to name drop.
Oh yeah.
Let me just see who's coming on air with me. Sorry, they're not coming on air. I've just got a side chat with them. Cecilia Flumban.
Very nice. I love Cecilia.
So
I'll do a quick plug. I haven't edited it yet, but I've got my Steve has a chat with Muhammad Alam, who owns F&O, as well as Business Central, and it was a very interesting conversation with him. I think folks are going to like that one a lot as soon as I get back from Key West and edit that thing up and publish it.
I like it.
And one more name drop. I'm here in about 5 minutes. We'll be leaving here to go hop on a boat. I'm going to be spending the day with Satya Nadella out in Gulf fishing, of course. Okay, maybe not.
Maybe
all right,
not.
I'll be out there with my wife fishing. Satya might be around. You never know.
That's not your pet name for your wife, is it?
No. Not very romantic.
All righty. See you later, everybody. Thanks for stopping in. If you're listening to this on playback, add your comments. We can still engage with your comments after this live playback. We've worked out how to make sure this stream stays live properly. We had a copyright claim last time, which kind of fumbled us up a bit. Even though we were licensed for it, it just took them 3 weeks to release the license. But anyhow, we will call it quits there, and